Welcome GRD131, Graphic Design 1, and I'm going to get you started on your ex8 roofing ad makeover. That's the one of the Jeff Alt roofing. It's an older ad, so I'm sure they have something better now and probably a better logo and things like that. But we're going to work on this because there's a lot of issues with it that you checked out in your discussion post. And what you're going to do is click on this link so you can open up a file. So I'm going to click on this shared Gravit link. And if you're not logged in, you're going to have to log in. So I'm going to go down here and log in, and I'm going to do it as a student, so I'll use my student account, not my student account, but my personal account. And then you can close this up and make sure you save it to your cloud. So go File, Save to Cloud As, and put it in your GRD131 folder. And down here, you're just going to change last F. You're going to put your last name first initial. And you're going to save it into your 131. So if you have a 131 folder, you could go in here. And remember, there's no save button yet. There will be eventually, but just hit enter. And that will save it. And it'll be saved to your cloud. And it'll be your job to work with this thing. And I'm going to try not to do a lot. I'll do it after you guys do yours. I'll do mine. But I want to just let you guys kind of go on your own and do this. Now, I'm going to hide my inspector over here, or actually my layer palette. So let me go to View. And I'll uncheck Show Layers, and I'll just take a look at this. And a couple things that we talked about with this ad. I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with it. That's why it's a good one to work with. Just the color right off the bat, having a yellow background with black for something like roofing. The roofing logo, having that Broadway-looking font. I tried to match the font a little bit, and I came close. And I still made another logo just because I can't have you do it. I can't have you work with that font. There's no reason to, so... I just made something real quick. We're actually going to work on logos. So I just did this real quick. I just put a line and I connected it to the G. I had to just change the G to a path and then adjust the anchor points, and I just lined it up with the line. And I grouped it all together. So you could scale this and move it around and just use that for the time being. And all I'm going to ask you to do on this one is keep the same font. It's all Open Sans. I know that's the generic starting font, but there is a nice family of fonts when you go on here. There is everything from light through extra bold. So just stick with that for now. Don't start thinking about, well, I'm going to use this font and that font. I don't want you to think about that right now. I want you to think about laying this out. There's a lot to lay out here, and there's a lot of issues with this particular ad, starting with the top. Now, I'm going to kind of tell you to do this. I know this is kind of odd, but if you read this like you're a radio announcer, like if you're not looking at it and you're just hearing it, it has a certain cadence to it. And if I was a radio announcer and they gave me this, I'd say, winter will be here soon. Call for a free gutter and roof inspection. Everything is kind of in the same level here. Nothing stands out. Nothing seems more emphasized than the other. Everything is kind of on an even level here, and it's really hard for anything to stand out. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And then it's like, winter will be here soon. Call for a free gutter and roof inspection. Jeff Alt Roofing, over 44 years experience. Fully insured, references, detailed written estimates, roof fans, roof vents, 908, and then their website's down here and a license number. It really doesn't have a nice flow to it as far as information. So I want you to focus on that first before you worry about designing a whole lot, because redesigning this to make it look better will be very easy. But we have to deal with those problems first. You want to think about a cadence. Like, what would be a better cadence? Let me zoom out here. And it's weird that I'm just talking about like a radio commercial. But if this was a radio commercial, and I reworded this a little bit, I just put winter will soon be here instead of winter will be here soon. But if I was a radio announcer, I'd say, winter will soon be here. Call now for a free gutter and roof inspection. Jeff Alt Roofing. Over 44 years of experience. Commercial and residential roofing, gutters, skylights, fans, and vents. Call now, 908-526-2111, or visit their website, jeffaltroofing.com. Fully insured, references, free estimates, all that blah, blah, blah stuff at the end that they say real fast. That's not important. That should be at the bottom, and that should be real small. Their website shouldn't be at the bottom and real small. This stuff, detailed written estimates, doesn't even, who's looking... That's not anything. Fully insured, references, detailed written estimates. I think I put something like free estimates. I put fully insured, references, free estimates. That makes more sense than detailed written estimates. And, whatever you could do with wording, I kind of put some of this stuff together. Instead of roof fans, roof vents, I just put commercial residential roofing, gutters, skylights, fans, and vents, all that kind of stuff. I looked on their website and I saw what they did. So I put everything that they do in one place. So you don't just have it scattered over here and over here. You don't have this stuff. That's not even getting into the design yet. I mean, nothing stands out. The font for the logo is really inappropriate for a roofing company. And, this is bolder than that, and it's in quotes and centered. And then this is all in caps in italic, and stuff is on either side. Then there's bullets, which don't really make sense. And then everything's small at the bottom. So, and there's no margin around it either. Everything kind of runs to the end. So that really impacts the flow. So there's a lot of things to deal with here. And that's why it's best to almost turn off this layer and kind of work with this. And that's why I don't want you to start messing with a whole lot of fonts. Matter of fact, ignore these things. Ignore these Broadway type fonts here and just use the one up here for now. Just scale it and put it in there. But think about what's most important and think of what should stand out. Also, some of these issues here are line spacing things. So if you're going to break something on a different line, for example, this line here. So if you're going to have like call now for a free gutter and roof inspection on 2 lines, if you're going to go in here and hit a return, and let's say you're going to center it, I'll go center down here. One thing you're going to want to do once it gets bigger is probably bring the line spacing in. So you might want to go here and kind of go down on the line spacing. It might go somewhere like 90, because the bigger you get, the more you have to kind of tighten it up a little bit. But you may want to tighten up some of these things. The leading here, the line spacing is actually a problem here. And I have some videos to watch even before this, which I'll have you watch for the typography class, which might help with some of this stuff. But all I really want you to do is get this stuff in a good order. Just use the same font and worry about the sizes and positioning first. Make sure to have spaces in between. Make sure to get proximity. So everything's organized. Everything's in this one. Now let me zoom in here. Everything's kind of scattered all over the place. And everything's very different. There's no uniformity of a look to it. These 4 lines have one look, but it's really meant to be 2 things. Winter will be here soon is kind of the headline. And this is kind of well, I guess that's sort of a headline too, but nothing really stands out. Like what's the come on here? What's grabbing you here? What's the thing that's going to make you look at this ad? Nothing. There's nothing that's going to make you want to look at this ad. Maybe if you said winter will be here soon, that'll like scare people. I mean, even thinking about this, I'm not sure winter will be here soon. That I would think to get a free gutter and roof inspection. You might have to say like, hey, leaks will come, once the roof freezes and you'll start getting leaks and things like that. But I don't know if people are even thinking about that. Sometimes it's in the spring when you have a lot of leaves in the gutter from the fall that things start leaking. So I don't know if this is really a good catch to get people to get a free gutter and roof inspection before winter, unless they know that, hey, when things freeze up, water's going to drip in down your walls and there's a chance, you can have issues with water coming in. That could be the issue. I'm not sure what the purpose is here, and unfortunately, that's the most important thing, because this ad, their purpose is to say, hey, winter will be here soon. This is a fall ad, obviously. Call for a free gutter and roof inspection. So that's kind of their come on. So I guess you really have to play up winter will be here soon to get people to think, oh, we better get our gutters and roof checked, because I know we had some problems in the summer or whatever, and you don't want to be dealing with things in the winter, because people aren't going to go up on your roof in the winter and fix things. They're not. It's too dangerous. So you got to get it done now. So I guess that's what they're kind of going for here. But everything from here down, it's like different font, different font, different font, different font, different, small. Nothing is really consistent. So what you're going to do is you're going to set it up and get it consistent first. So what you're going to have to do is, again, I'll turn on my layers over here, and the original ad is on the bottom. And if you just turn off the eyeball, the visibility here, just turn that off, and then kind of go on this top layer here, and then just start working on that. You could even hide this. Then you could go back and hide this after you hide that ad. Just put that ad away. There's no reason to look at it. I have all the copy over here. So just hide your layers and start working on it, and bring this in first. You have to bring everything in. You have to bring in your logo. So bring in your logo, make it smaller. Now it's a graphic right now, so you can just grab on the corner and drag in a 45 and just get it to a nice size. And something like that's kind of a nice size. Now make sure you keep a nice margin around here. Now you don't have to necessarily put guides around here, but it would be good to have at least like an 1/8 inch around here. Exactly what I have here is probably what you should have. So you shouldn't have anything touching the side, especially for an ad, because a lot of times we'll put borders on there. So Don't put anything there right now. Now, if you wanted to go and put a background color or something, do something other than yellow. Do blue or something, or light blue. You could always draw a box. Just go here and put a rectangle, and I'll just draw a box right now. And maybe because winter's coming soon, maybe we'll make it light blue. So you could go in here and just find a light blue, not that blue. I'll go a little lighter here, and grayer and as light as I can. Maybe something like that, nice and light. You could do something like that. And then, then you might want to lock this. So, and you also want to make sure it's behind everything else. So let's go to View, Show Layers panel again. And there's your rectangle, and it's in front of your headline. So you could just move this thing down. Now, that has an arrow going down, and it has bring element forward. So you have to use the opposite one. I don't like those icons. But just bring it down so it's the second last one. In other words, it's in front of the original ad. So we'll put that rectangle there. And then if you even want to lock it, then you don't have to worry about grabbing it anymore. Then you could just leave it alone. So you could put a background color. Again, that yellow is terrible, so don't use that yellow. Light blue might be a nice color to use. So just draw a rectangle, put it there, lock it, make sure it's on the layer above the original ad, and that's fine. And then start working on this. Get your stuff in here. Winter will soon be here. However you want to do that, call now. Now this is your main stuff up here. And you want to probably talk about Jeff Alt, and this is probably what they do, so you could scale this down. Now, if you want to scale down a whole block of stuff, make sure you go down here and just put on auto scale font. So even if you have 2 lines here, you can just go, when this turns red, this little corner here, and you have auto scale font on, you could go down and just kind of scale the whole thing. So then you don't have to be adjusting all the point sizes. And remember, if you ever have the box bigger than what you're working on, just put on auto. That snaps the box to what you're doing here. So you could do something like that, and then whatever you're doing next. Now just start working from there. Don't even worry about making things bold yet. Get everything in basically in a regular Open Sans font. And however you want to have it, if you're breaking lines, just focus on size first. And then use some of the weights that you have here. Then if you want to go in here and instead of regular, put that in extra bold or something, on 2 lines or whatever you need to do. But do that first. So I'm going to undo that. So try to get everything kind of in order and consistent. So if you keep everything the same font, at least for now, it's going to be consistent. So if you have one size here one way, you might want to keep it that way somewhere else. We have the phone number and website. Now that's probably going to be before this this thing here with fully insured. This should be at the bottom and be very small. This should be the smallest thing on here, and you should make it really tiny. Nobody's really wants to see that unless this fully insured free estimates, but nobody wants to see this. So whatever size it has to be just to go along the bottom, be very small. Sometimes you could even put it in like a black box, or sometimes you could put this in a black box and reverse out of it, so that you have kind of a banner at the bottom with black and white type, and you have a phone number there. So I'm going to let this up to you. I'll let you go work on it. It won't be easy. I'm telling you, this isn't easy. It's going to take you some time to work on it, and I'm not going to go through and do it. I'm just getting you started off here and just telling you to just get everything organized first. Get sizes and positioning first. Don't make anything bold. Don't change any fonts. Just get things where you want them first and what size they should be. Then think about separating them and start thinking about the flow. Think about the flow down. Look at this like a page and think of the flow down the page. Don't have anything too wide or too close to the edge. This amount here, probably like a 3/16 of an inch or at least an 1/8 of an inch. You'll want that margin all the way around. You don't want anything closest to the edge there. And remember what we did with flyers. You don't always want something real wide at the top. So you probably want to break this so you have a nice like head and shoulders, and it comes down and maybe gets wider at the bottom. I'd say don't use these Broadway fonts. They're not Broadway. The one's called Limelight. One's called Notable. I wouldn't use either of these. Just use this. I think this looks better, at least for now. Like I said, we're going to work on some logo work for this company and come up with a logo with an icon. It'll be a nice design project for us to work on. But even just for now, this looks better than what they had. Even doing it in like, just a minute. I was like, oh, let me put a line and put the G into it. And it already looks better than what they had. Although we don't have ink in there, but you could put ink anywhere if you had to. But that's what I want you to do. Work on this as best you can. And again, what I'd like you to do is stay with the Open Sans font. Whether you use different weights, you could scrunch them a little bit. Remember, whenever you have to scale things, just go down and put on auto scale font. So that way you can scale this as you need to. You don't have to be highlighting everything and trying to change the point size. You could do that, move these things around a little bit. So work with that, see how you do with it. I know this won't be easy, but get everything in their place first. And you know, if you're kind of happy with the way it is and you made some things bold, that's it. We're going to use this as something that we're going to keep working on. So you're going to probably do one version of it, and then I'm going to go in and say, hey, why don't you do this and this and this? And you're going to go back and do some more. And then we're going to work on a logo. So this won't be something that'll just be once and done, and you won't have it perfect the first time. I mean, if I did it one time, I wouldn't get it perfect. I'd get it one way, and then I'd look at it again and think, oh, I should change this and I should change that. And, you know, we'll get input. That's part of it. So give it your best shot. I mean, based on what you're starting with, you can only do better. There's no way you're going to make an ad that looks worse than the one it started with that yellow background. So give it a shot. And remember, as you're working, make sure to use this to save. And then when you're done, you're going to share it. You're going to always make sure to put this on developer. And then you're going to hit the copy button. And then you're going to paste your link in here. Then when you're done, you're going to go in here and you're going to add comment. You're going to insert your link, and you're going to paste your link here, and you're going to choose new window when you're done. Now I'm just going to cancel this. You know the routine. You've done this before, so I don't have to go through all of that. So I'm just going to cancel out of that. But that's what you're going to be working on. Let me close that. This is what you're going to be working on. You know, again, if you don't want a blue background, try something else. Maybe you like the yellow. Maybe you think the yellow works really well. I don't know. It all depends where it is. You know, I don't know where that ad was originally. It was kind of an older ad, and if you go to their website, it's going to look a lot different. So don't expect it to look as bad as it does in that ad. But give this a shot. Try working with this and try doing your best to organize things and move things around and get a nice hierarchy going. Remember, what's most important, what's second, what's third. And then everything else doesn't matter as much. You want to pull them in. So do something that pulls them in. You know, you need to do something that grabs people and pulls them in, or else they're never going to look at this ad, and the company's wasting money on this ad. So whatever you need to do, if you need to change any copy, do that. If you want to put this in, you know, I'm not going to say do this right away, but maybe you find one of those fonts that looks like winter, that looks like icicles or something, and do that. And that's your big headline. That's your big come on. But leave that to the end. Get everything organized and set up first, so at least you can read it and it looks nice, and then worry about making things bold and making style adjustments here and there, and going into the font family of Open Sans. But for now, try to stick with just size changes and positioning, and work with that first, and then start working with different style changes. You don't have to make anything italic. You don't always have to make something italic. We have to make things bigger and bolder probably, and we probably have to make things smaller. So a lot of things are going to have to be smaller. So part of emphasizing things are de-emphasizing other things. So this stuff in the bottom is going to be small. Their phone number is going to be big. Their website should be prominent. You know, it should be fairly prominent. Not gigantic, but it should be fairly prominent, so if people want to find information, they can. All right, so I've done enough talking on this. Go to it. This is ex8, and this is our roofing makeover.